Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring so far in the cryptocurrency market and outside the crypto market as well. We've got a little bit of a catalyst here this morning to start the trading week, which is great to see. After having so many consecutive red weekends, this is the first weekend where, in like the last 14, where we're showing signs of green. The last time we started a Monday like this, after looking somewhat green, because this is still technically the Sunday candle, by the end of the trading day on Monday, this was about 3 weeks ago, beginning of March, we ended up dumping down and giving it all back. This does look to be slightly different case here, and we'll have to see how it looks at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't get me wrong. The U.S. is waking up from the weekend as the ETFs are now back online. It's 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We know about 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we get this volatility. And a lot of times, the U.S. is either selling out or they use us for some kind of liquidity. And then as the trading day goes on, after the initial dump down, then we start to do what it's designated to do. But we're going to see today, because we do have a catalyst, as I mentioned. Trump announced that Trump will narrow tariffs. So Trump is saying that tariffs won't be as widely imposed on April 2nd. So U.S. stock index futures are pointing to a higher opening after reports that President Donald Trump will narrow the scope of tariffs he plans to impose on April 2nd. Trump had planned to enact widespread reciprocal tariffs against longtime trading partners, but now those tariffs will likely be narrower than originally threatened. Reports said that likely comes as a relief of investors and economists who feared an all-out trade war. Still, officials in China and Australia warned U.S. trade policy could cause shocks to the global economy. Futures tied to the blue chip Dow added 0.75%. The broad S&P 500 futures gained 0.94%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 futures rose 1.14%. On Sunday, Strategy co-founder Michael Saylor posted on X a Bitcoin chart suggesting he may be contemplating buying more Bitcoin. So we'll see how that plays out. And then by the time we get to the end of this update, I want to do the intro, go over the charts, and then I want to read the XRP price prediction and analysis. Poised for breakout. Chart suggests major moves soon. So we'll correlate that against our own. Make sure to hit that like button so YouTube can recommend this update. I think it's important to start the trading week. It's a beautiful start to a beautiful week. So don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful Monday morning. I'm just blessed, thrilled, and humbled and honored to be able to spend this time with each and every one of you. Good morning. 8:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, March 24th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So let's take a look at this XRP chart, which is phenomenal right now. It's phenomenal. We didn't give away the key area of support at $2.28. We've got a little bit of a reversal here in the W reversal. In the daily time frame, it suggested a reversal yesterday. We were just watching the weekly to make sure we could get a nice start to the week. We still are accompanied or encompassed or encapsulated by this little area. And I want to see how this plays out here, because to me, let me get rid of this so we can see the whole thing. It looks, and I know that it's let me get rid of all of these so we can see. There's these little drawings and yada, 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 so on and so forth, just so we can see this whole thing. But it didn't exactly, to me, I'm still watching this very closely because I know how we can push out of here and have a very bullish push. The fact that it was a little low here, but if we can have a nice start to the week and make a new high, we can invalidate, to me, this little bit of a bearish structure. Like, to me, that looks a little more bearish than bullish on the last weekly candle. So now, to me, it was just the start of, we needed to have the initial daily candle today, have a nice, powerful burst. And this is what we talked about yesterday. It looked like a reversal in the daily. We just got to reinvigorate that weekly time frame where we were a little bit sluggish. And now we can invalidate that sluggishness by having a hot start here on Monday. Now, a hot start on Monday, we still have not done much. We still need to get above. I mean, it's a little bit up here. We've still, in my opinion, We've got to break above 259. Otherwise, these can start to have a downward spiral. I know it looks good to start the week, but I'm just making sure that we check off all of our, all of the bullish signs. So right now, this weekly, it was a little bit, to me, it was a little pressure to the downside compared to the upside. We started off a little bit hot right now, but now we've got to finish this off in a daily time frame. Let's finish this off, make sure that this is a true reversal. We got a small sign of a reversal yesterday. We're starting with an engulfing candle to the top side in the daily. Now we've got to make sure this doesn't turn into one of those sneaky reversals now that trading will open on Monday morning. So it's always a very tricky proposition. I'm glad to see it's at where it's at now. At the top side, I'm glad to see we never even went close to the 228 level. And now we've got to start pushing up. Our next level would be to push out towards that 265. We've used this uptrend we drew, and it actually came right down to it perfectly, so it's nice to see that. It's using this as an uptrend. And as long as we stay on top of this, you can continue to use this as your breakout support. And it started down here on March 10th, and then it hit it again on March 18th, and then it hit it again on March 23rd. So we're using that as a volatile uptrend, and our technical target right now, short-term target, is 265. And then if you can break that, we can start talking about the longer-term target. And that was bouncing off of 228. The fact we moved up means that it's still valid in this area where it broke out. So, I mean, you can have a slightly higher target. I'm going to continue to look at it that way just so that we don't have an overzealous target. I know it's like 298, but let's get past that 286, and then we can work on the 298 area. So that's what we're looking at this morning. If you want optimism, this is how you get optimism to start. But if you want reality, the reality says we've got to make sure that weekly from last week is not bearish. I know it's not technically a bearish doji, but to me it looks like a gravestone in disguise as a long leg doji. And sometimes these start out hot, volatile to the upside to start the next candle. But then by the time they break through, you end up putting in a lower low. And that's what I'm trying not to see. So I want to see this in full totality. I won't give it any benefit of the doubt to the top side or bottom side. I just want it to transparently move through what it needs to and validate this head and shoulders pattern. Don't allow for a head and shoulders in this little setup and start moving universally up. So now we're going to need to see us break up. Let's see what we can do here to give us a little more credence. Yeah, it's just a matter of filling out the rest of this pattern. Because we came out of this falling channel. And that target, I know we have the short term of 265 out of that little channel. But out of the wider inverse head and shoulders with the resistance support setup, it does suggest around 286 to 298. The initial part is 265 though. So from here, if we can start pushing up, not have to break down again, 265 is going to be that first resistance we're coming up to. We perfectly bounced off of the breakout on the market cap. We're going to measure it from here now because it did not consolidate more. So, I mean, we're looking at a push to 216 billion in the XRP market cap if this plays true. Now that we bounced out of a symmetrical triangle, I guess you could call it I like the symmetrical or maybe a little bit of a descending wedge almost, but we're broken to the top side of it. And the technical target, we do have a pivot point at 161.5 billion, but the technical target here on a breakout, it's phenomenal. It's up to 216 billion, and that would get us plus $3. If we do this, it'll get us plus $3, probably push us towards that 340 area again. But it'll be a phenomenal push in the market cap. And you'll see this in the title as I say XRP seeks 214 billion or a 55% increase in the market cap. That's what we're trying to hunt here. But I'm not going to say this is guaranteed because I want to see how the market plays. I want to see how we respond to this Monday morning. I want to see if we have downward volatility now that the trading week is starting. And in the next hour, hour and a half, we're going to find out a lot. Bitcoin broke above the key pivot point of 86,383. And the whole weekend we talked about that push up to 90,264, assuming we didn't give back 79,948. We've not even come close to giving it back. So it looks like to me we're on our way to 90K. And if that's the case, XRP is going to be on its way to 265 and beyond. Well, at least 265. I think 265 is fair if Bitcoin makes another $4,000 push. But this is urgent here now, in a good way. If we can push past and not get rejected, this is where we can start making that volatile push from the 4-hourly and start to invalidate that daily time frame death cross. And that's what we're trying to do right now. That's why we have to see if this is overzealous push up or if they end up pulling this down as the day goes on, because we haven't changed the narrative yet, but we're starting to turn up a little bit to try to... What we're trying to do right now is where... Let's say we're putting a little opposition into the narrative right now, and now we're trying to break the narrative. The narrative right now still says we can cut in half, with the micro movement now showing that, hey, we might be able to reverse this full out and not have to cut in half and go down to that $1.50 or $1.28 on XRP, or back down to 74K on Bitcoin and beyond to 62, maybe even 58. So that's what we're looking at right now. So let's read this and then I'll release this. XRP price prediction and analysis poised for breakout. Chart suggests major moves soon. XRP trades around $2.39. As we know, it's $2.45 now. And there is no resolution to the case yet. The SEC has not said anything. So right now it's hearsay by Brad Garlinghouse, but we tend to believe what he's saying. So XRP, the cryptocurrency associated with Ripple Labs, is currently consolidating around $2.45, experiencing both rallies and corrections in the recent weeks. This comes as U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission SEC dropped its long-standing lawsuit against Ripple Labs last week. They did not drop it, though. This is misinformation. Brad Garlinghouse said they're going to drop it. The Securities and Exchange Commission has not come out and said anything yet, but I believe they will soon. The resolution in this legal battle has created a fundamental shift with its token. It has sparked optimism among XRP supporters and analysts who are now eyeing new potential price targets. But remember, there's an injunction still, so Ripple can't sell to institutions at different prices. That was imposed by Judge Annalisa Perez in late 23. Technical analysis shows XRP forming a symmetrical triangle pattern on the 4-hourly chart. This formation features higher lows at 228, resistance building near 255. The pattern suggests a breakout may be coming soon. Traders are watching closely for confirming through increased trading volume. Several key price levels are worth monitoring in the short term. On the upside, $2.40 to $2.42 serves as immediate resistance. A clean move above these levels could open the door for a rally towards $2.55 should momentum continue. The price might reach as high as $2.88, and that's the breakout target from this pattern consolidation that we're on the top side of right now. On the downside, 228 acts as a critical support level. As we know, that's keeping us from falling back within the breakout area. Failure to hold this support could push XRP back down towards 218 to 220. If bearish pressure increased, the price might extend its decline to around $2. This represents a risk for those holding the cryptocurrency. Momentum indicators are currently showing mixed signals. With a slight bullish tilt, the relative strength index RSI sits at 51.45, indicating balanced buying and selling pressure. The moving average convergence divergence MACD displays a minor positive crossover. The MACD line sits at 0.0022 versus the signal line at 0.0065. Bollinger Bands have notably contracted with the price trading near the mid-band at $2.40. This narrowing suggests a period of increased volatility may be approaching. On the daily chart, XRP navigating within a descending triangle pattern, the resistance level near $2.88 remains the larger breakout barrier to watch. I cannot disagree with that at all. That's exactly my target. Don't care about big gut trash analysis underneath. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show them. XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure to hit that like button. If you appreciate my content, don't hesitate to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel and join the over 31,400 subscribers. If you're looking to trade crypto, a little bit of change here. BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker fee. Easiest way to trade leverage. There's no VPN or KYC in the USA or worldwide. XRP is available worldwide. I'm looking at separate exchanges to replace Hotcoin. I just don't like the volatility issue, so I took it off my list. But we're going to have to find one that has some of the tokens that we appreciate. So I will be searching very long and hard, and I will explain when I find something I'm looking at more. I just don't like the liquidity feel in the futures on Hotcoin, so I'm done even talking about it. There's other options. I encourage BITUNIX, especially in these volatility moments. You can send a donation, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. You can join Tom's Army if you do appreciate my work. But honestly, I just appreciate each and every one of your support. And if you made it until the end, hashtag be better, do better in the comments.